get you.
In the face.
Oh, let's see if you got a scar. Yeah.
Is it bleeding? Oh, it's bleeding. Oh gosh, it's bleeding. It's a scrape. I can feel the bone.
It's an You don't feel the bone.
Oh.
Good afternoon. So what we are doing today is we are for the first time going to give our goats a copper bolus. If you watch our videos, you know we had some parasite issues last year, and we don't want to worm stuff. We're trying not to do that. And so the guy that we got our original goats from is the same guy that we got the B team from, B team Billy's, and he is using copper boluses. And so since that's where we got the nannies from, we're gonna do that, and we've read up on it and how it improves the immune system and in turn will help with parasites. So we're gonna try that this year. So anyway, we've got some strategic help here. We've got the one, the only Lisa, and then up the second one and only Mr. Blake. Blake, do you want to say anything? For those of y'all that don't know, this is our son Blake. He's helped one time before. He doesn't like coming back to the ranch because he's got his own life, but every now and then he does if we're desperate. And we didn't know how this was going to go because we're going to do all of them. So whenever we're doing all of them, we need all the help we can get. Anyway, so here we go. I'm going to call and shake the bucket, and Lisa and Blake are going to drag up the rear once we get them coming. Yeah. Will have a perfectly round deal, and when they go like this, the pills fall out, and so they put some goop in there to hold them in. Or the lady told me peanut butter, and you know, I told her I don't want to go buy a case of peanut butter to feed my goats. So anyway, I found these that are oblong, and they're still just a little loose, and so you can just take pliers and just crimp it down a little bit, and you can see it doesn't come out until I push the lever. So just a little tip that may help some of y'all that if you're doing copper bolus. Good morning. We're out here the next morning just to look at everything, just to make sure everything is okay and we don't have any issues. We're not seeing any issues. I made a quick pass around the pasture just to see if there was anything that was sore or laying around. I'm sure there's going to be some sore goats. I know there's some sore people. All the dogs are here, so they seem to be content. Okay. It's a wrap. It's a done deal. The next thing that we'll have to do is we'll have to bring them back in and sort our billies off, and then we'll be taking them over to the summering grounds. So that'll be probably in the next week or two. We're moving cattle again, as we do this time of year, pretty much every day, because I've already said that we allow our cows to lose a little condition through the winter because we're trying to work in sync with nature, and that's the way nature does it. That's the way they were intended to function. And so this time of year we're trying to put weight back on the cattle, so we're moving them, pretty often. The time to graze your timber, especially on bottomland, is when the leaves are still off the trees, because the forage and the feed underneath the trees is able to gather as much energy, sunlight, as possible, probably over any other time of the year. And it should be, because the leaves are going to shade them out a little bit. So we will eventually come back through this area, but what I'm noticing, and I don't know if you can see them in the distance there, is the calves are all going under the fence. You might be able to see them going through the trees there. Here's my electric fence. Right up here, it runs like this along the timber. The cows are out there, and the calves are supposed to be out there, but the calves are coming under the fence, which we don't mind when they're this age. It allows them to kind of creep feed a little bit, and so it gives them pretty good feed. So what we're looking at right here is you can see the feed on the ground. It's a nice mixture of yellow and green, which is ideally what we're after this time of year. And it just looks really good. So what we're doing right now is we're heading back towards the pens as fast as we can kind of get there in order to wean the calves. And then we will take the cows back out and put them back through this rotation again, and probably pastures that aren't as good, we won't stay as long. We'll maybe do half days, quarter days, whatever, until we get to kind of some better areas, and then we'll utilize it a little better. But all of this is based on monitoring the animal, monitoring their manure, all that kind of stuff. And I've talked about that before in previous videos, but as we get to that point, I'll talk about kind of what we're wanting to see in a manure pile. Oh boy, this guy's talking about manure. That's gonna bring the views in. But it helps you if you know what you're supposed to be looking at. It helps you manage. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help people, and we're trying to get helped from people that may be doing it a different way, that can contact us and say, hey, we're doing this a different way. By the way, that makes me think again of the Instagram. Holler at us on that Instagram if you've got a comment or a private note type of thing that you want to have a discussion about something. Do it on Instagram. Love that for that reason.